Picture this. Over 100 fighter jets on 2 U.S. aircraft carriers, stealth bombers refueling in mid-air, and a massive convoy of military aircraft flying east, all headed toward one of the world's most volatile regions. This isn't a drill. Israel and Iran are already trading missile fire, and the U.S. is now positioning itself right in the middle of it all, with enough firepower to change the course of any war in the region. The question is, are they there to stop a war or start one? The U.S. military is surging assets into the Middle East at a pace we haven't seen in years. Dozens of aerial refueling tankers are being quietly deployed toward Europe and the Middle East. 2 U.S. Navy carrier strike groups, the USS Carl Vinson and the USS Nimitz, are both converging on the region. Each one brings its own air wing, missile cruisers, destroyers, submarines, and over 70 aircraft. The reason? A sharp escalation between Israel and Iran. With recent Israeli airstrikes reportedly targeting Iranian nuclear infrastructure and Iranian missile retaliation already underway, Washington is now moving fast to posture, prepare, and perhaps participate. This isn't just about presence, it's about readiness. The USS Nimitz and USS Carl Vinson aren't just ships. Each one is a floating city, home to 5,000 sailors, and capable of launching sustained air campaigns anywhere within a 500-mile radius. Each carrier carries a full air wing of F-18 Super Hornets, EA-18G Growlers for electronic warfare, E-2D Hawkeyes for early warning, and MH-60 helicopters for sub-hunting and rescue missions. Surrounding them are guided missile cruisers and destroyers equipped with the Aegis combat system, capable of intercepting ballistic missiles, aircraft, and even hypersonic threats. These strike groups operate as mobile launch platforms, mobile radar stations, and missile shields, all in one. And they're moving into a region already bristling with tension. When the U.S. deploys one carrier to a hotspot, it's a message. When it sends 2, that's a statement, and potentially a prelude. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for what's coming next. On June 15th, open-source trackers picked up an unusual sight. About 30 U.S. Air Force refueling aircraft, KC-135 Stratotankers, and KC-46 Pegasus jets, departing from bases across the United States. Their flight paths led eastward, first to Europe, then south toward the Middle East. Why tankers? Because they are the unsung heroes of air power. Fighters and bombers can't operate globally without fuel in the sky. A single KC-135 can refuel multiple aircraft mid-flight, extending their range by thousands of miles. Think of it this way. Without tankers, American jets are like sprinters without shoes. With tankers, they become marathon runners, able to strike targets deep inside Iranian territory and return safely. This isn't a normal rotation. It's a rapid buildup designed for one purpose: operational endurance. Reports now confirm that the U.S. is also deploying 5th-generation fighters, F-22 Raptors and F-35 Lightnings, into the region. These aren't just fast jets. They're stealth platforms designed to evade radar, defeat integrated air defenses, and deliver precision strikes with minimal warning. F-22s dominate the air. They're air superiority fighters with unmatched speed and agility. F-35s are multi-role, meaning they can do ground attack, intelligence gathering, and air combat, all while feeding real-time data to allied forces. Together, they create a combat cloud, a networked battlefield where every sensor shares with every shooter. That means faster decisions, more precise targeting, and fewer gaps for enemies to exploit. And when you combine that with the carriers and tankers already in motion, you don't just have a force. You have a full-spectrum strike capability standing by. So what triggered this surge? On June 13th, Israeli warplanes reportedly struck multiple Iranian facilities, possibly tied to nuclear development and missile production. In response, Iran launched ballistic missiles toward Israeli targets. The exchange was limited, but pointed. U.S. officials are now preparing for the possibility that things could escalate fast. Washington isn't just worried about Iran. It's also watching for Hezbollah, militias in Iraq, threats to shipping lanes in the Persian Gulf, and attacks on U.S. bases in Syria. This is why American forces aren't just being placed in the region. They're being placed to respond in multiple directions, across multiple domains, all at once. Is this just deterrence, or is it preparation? That's the key question. On paper, the U.S. describes these deployments as defensive. The Pentagon says it's about protecting assets and stabilizing the region. But the scale and speed tell a more urgent story. When you deploy 2 carrier strike groups, 30-plus tankers, stealth fighters, and activate rapid logistics chains, you're not just deterring, you're rehearsing. You're setting the stage for flexible response options that can go live within hours. This posture also sends a signal to allies. America is back in the region, and it's serious. And to adversaries, test us, and we're ready. On another front, in the Western Pacific, the U.S. Navy has deployed the aircraft carrier USS George Washington, currently the only American carrier operating in that region. While the Middle East heats up, Washington is also reinforcing its presence in Asia to counter growing Chinese military activity. The George Washington, recently resupplied and based out of Japan, is patrolling critical maritime zones between the first and second island chains. This area includes the waters surrounding Taiwan and the South China Sea, regions Beijing considers within its strategic sphere. Far from routine, this deployment is a calculated move to maintain freedom of navigation, reassure regional allies, and deter any aggressive posture from China's rapidly modernizing navy. It sends a clear message. While the U.S. gears up for a potential conflict in the Middle East, it hasn't taken its eyes off the Indo-Pacific. There are a few scenarios on the table: de-escalation, diplomacy gains ground, and U.S. forces remain as a pressure valve to keep both sides in check. Limited strike. Israel, with U.S. refueling and air cover, launches a targeted raid on Iranian nuclear or missile sites. Full-scale conflict. A broader war breaks out involving Iran, Israel, Hezbollah, and possibly Gulf states, with U.S. assets drawn directly into combat operations. Each path depends on what happens in the next few days, and how Iran chooses to respond. We're watching more than just ship movements or flight logs. We're witnessing a high-stakes chess game where every move carries risk. Every deployment sends a message, and the wrong step could ignite a war the region isn't ready for. This isn't routine. This is history in motion. If you want updates that cut through the noise on the air power, the strategy, and what it means for all of us, make sure you're subscribed, because the next move could come at any moment.